testimonies of Jewish people, my ancestors, trapped in the ghettos of Europe, looking at the sky with fear and seeing only walls and hostile soldiers on the horizon, dependent on their captors even for food, water and medical supplies. I cannot help but also think of Gaza. This isn't intended as a sloppy comparison with history, it's just the ramblings of a Jew who despairs at the entirety of her history, that which has passed and that which is being made today. But while our history teaches us about persecution, it also teaches us about resistance. Life is sanctified, it is holy, and human beings will resist any attempt to deny that fact. Resistance isn't just taking up arms against our oppressors, it is refusing to bow to those who seek to erase our identity, our belonging, and even our existence. When Palestinians stand resolute on the Gazan border, demanding their freedom and their right to return, they are not committing acts of terrorism, they are performing a mitzvah.
Rabbi Laura Jana Klausner just declared that Jews are on a path to self-destruction. And guess what? She's right, Jews are on a path to self-destruction, but not for the reasons that she claims. Last week, around 50 British Jews, progressive British Jews, said Kaddish for Hamas operatives that had been killed in clashes with Israel. She wasn't angered that these Jews had said Kaddish for a group of people that want to see me dead, that want to see every other Jew in the world dead and were actively invading Israel. Now, she was angered that this group of progressive Jews had been criticised by the wider British community for what they did. She was angered that this group had been publicly named. So last week it was actually me that broke the story. It was my video that's been seen by over 300,000 people. I was there. And one of the things that shocked me the most while I was there was how young everyone taking part was. I counted 2 people, just 2 people that had silver hair. After them, I was the 3rd oldest person there, possibly. Everyone was young, really, really young. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them had rocked up on bicycles with stabilizers, they were that young. But there they were, saying Kaddish for Hamas. Now, when Neturei Karta met with Hamas, they were excommunicated by the Jewish community. Not just the Orthodox, but by the entire global Jewish community. They were universally condemned for their actions. So that's what happened to Neturei Karta when they stood in solidarity with Hamas. But what about this young group of Jews that said Kaddish? Well, one of the things that really stood out to me was the high proportion of youth Jewish leaders from the Reform and Liberal Jewish streams. I mean, they even had the student rabbi there. What I mean by youth leader is if you belong to Reform or Liberal Judaism and you're thinking of sending your children on tour, it's these young individuals that were saying Kaddish that will be educating your children about Israel. They'll be passing on their Zionist education to your children. That's a pretty scary prospect.
We, as British Jews who hold a variety of views on Israel, have watched the violence unfolding in Gaza, particularly over the past few days, and felt anguished that the state of Israel, which claims to be a Jewish state, is inflicting such immense suffering on Palestinians.
I am here because I refuse to sit by and watch as my community doesn't condemn outrageous acts of violence.
I am here because Israel is a part of my identity and I have an obligation to speak out when it oppresses Palestinians.
We're now going to read the names of everyone who's lost their life in Gaza.
Jihad Mohammed Othman Musa, 31. Musa Jabda Abdul Salam Abdul Hasnain, 35.
As a community, we must ask ourselves what's happened. But in truth, we only need to look at Rabbi Laura's response to realise that the youth, they're not the problem, but a symptom of it. Their views weren't formed in a vacuum, rather they were shaped by the 2 largest progressive Jewish movements in the country. It's really bizarre that when it comes to Neturei Karta, everyone is so quick to condemn them. But when anti-Zionism or anti-Israeli sentiment arises in the progressive movements, we're all deathly silent. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you watching this are just thinking, oh great, another Orthodox Jew bashing the Reform or bashing the progressive movement. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Although I'm Orthodox, I actually think the Orthodox world can learn a lot from the progressive movements. It was actually a progressive rabbi that encouraged me to become Shomer Mitzvot in the first place. And I'm also not a right-wing hawk. In fact, any civilian, Palestinian or otherwise, that's caught up and killed in this conflict, my heart bleeds for them. But not for Hamas. Not Hamas. The game's up. We're not going to let you get away with it anymore. We're not going to let you get away with masquerading as being pro-Israel or Zionist while simultaneously publicly attacking Israel at every opportunity and mourning the deaths of those that seek to destroy us. I seriously appeal to any of my friends and followers that belong to the progressive streams of Judaism. It's time to reclaim your movement and hold your leadership accountable. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like it, hit the big red subscribe button on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. We're the Israel Advocacy Movement. I'm Joseph Cohen. Thanks for watching.